door and I'm filming what is going on. You're not coming in.
Fine.
No,
I need
you're not coming.
You
no.
need to come out then.
You're not. Okay. What are you doing?
You need to come out.
What are you doing?
This time you're under arrest, okay?
For what?
Preventing the course of justice.
What course of justice?
Do not resist us. Do not resist us.
Rely on it in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence.
Ow!
Man,
Okay,
insisted
look.
what you're... Right, let go.
Hands behind your back. Leave.
We're in a police state. We're literally in a police state. We have no rights anymore. We're going to walk this way because I need to get away from this place. Oh my God. I'm in a lot of pain because of what they did this morning.
Did they hurt you?
Oh my God.
But first off, it's not about the reason we thought. Up this way, up here. Oh, no, yeah, this is the way I came out.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Are you all right coming up
Yeah,
here?
sorry. So yeah, no, it wasn't good. I did on my YouTube, I did 4 months ago. My encounter with a guy in the car park, and he accused me. Sorry, I said have a gay day. He accused me of homophobic hate crime.
Homophobic hate crime.
And he actually came at me.
That's what Amy got done for.
He came at me aggressively, right into my face. I asked him to stand back. He came forward and put his finger in my face, so I just had to push him back from me. And I got charged with assault.
You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Can you just turn off
Yes.
your live
Can you
feed?
get me a solicitor?
Just turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah.
Do you understand what this is?
So can you explain it again?
Suspicion causing a breach of the peace.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, officer?
One question, something which you may
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I'm told that some of the police are doing the case.
Not at all, I've never said that.
George, that's the information I've
That's
got.
all the information we've got.
I'm inciting
Can you
people.
not
I'm
go back
inciting
through
people.
his video and
How have I
and watch
incited
it?
people?
He hasn't.
This is free speech. This is where we're at. You're not even allowed to. Look at this.
Look how many people...
No matter what you try and hide. Do you know when you do this? More people.
These are normal working men.
More people.
Really sharp things are lights.
Just let them do this. More people are watching this now than ever. This is ridiculous, lads. Do you feel right what you're doing it? I haven't said a word. In fact, someone laid their hand and assaulted me outside court.
Yeah, exactly.
Other people swore at me and threatened me about my mother, and here I am being arrested for saying nothing.
I'm threatened to behead
I've done
me.
nothing.
You've not said anything about
What are they arresting you for, Tommy?
Breach of the peace. Apparently, I'm inciting on my video. Can you please, George, get me a solicitor?
Yeah,
Because I'm on a suspended sentence, you see. So
He has actually done nothing wrong.
you can sort anything like that.
All it would take is for you to go through his video and see he's not. He's even said they're innocent until they're proven guilty.
There must have been Shameful, that.
Now, I've done a lot of podcasts in the last 6 months on the principles of English law, which I regard as being extremely important, which are being circumnavigated almost now on a weekly basis. Now, most of the principles of English law are governed by statute, but there are a couple which are governed by tradition. One is the great comment that was made in the 1930s that law should be that which is deemed to be fair by the man on the Clapham omnibus, deemed to be fair, natural justice, if you will. And of course, the other one is not only must justice be done, justice must be seen to be done. Now, the thing that makes me worried about this Tommy Robinson business, and I've never met the fellow, and I don't know anything about the case, but that's the point. It appears he's been sent to prison for 13 months, and I don't know anything about the case. I don't know what the legal implications are. I don't know what the offence was. I don't know anything about it at all. All I know is what I've seen on social media. And it didn't look to me like he'd done anything wrong, but I don't know. I don't know. And neither do you. So what I'm suggesting is, what is really, really wrong is the judge actually closing down any press comment on this. So the country doesn't know whether Tommy Robinson deserves to go to prison or not. We don't know. How can we make our own judgment on whether justice has been seen to be done, or whether natural justice has been done? And moreover, there is a caveat, is there not, that we have had one man sent to prison for putting a piece of bacon outside a mosque. He was given a year's sentence. It was only about 3 weeks before he was murdered. And another one came a little bit after that, and it was only about a week before he was attacked. Now, what bothers me is, I think we all know, and a lot of my friends in both the police and the prison service tell me that there are some prisons which are run by the inmates, a significant number of whom are natural enemies of Tommy Robinson, whether indeed he is safe or not. And I suspect that he isn't. All these things we don't know, all these things as citizens in a free society, we should be able to make our own judgments on. But we can't, because they've closed down any press freedom on this. I'm 68 years old, you know. I'm just wondering where this country's going. I'm honestly wondering where this country's going. Because it seems to me we're going back to sort of the East Germany of the Soviet Union.
We need to have a conversation about free speech. Some viewers may find this offensive. That's the point. This guy who trades in the name of Count Dankula on YouTube, real name Mark Meechan, 30-year-old from Scotland, trained his girlfriend's dog, her pug, to do a Nazi salute, and took that even further on the command of Sieg Heil and gas the Jews. Those were his words that he used in this video, which went viral and got 3 million YouTube hits. Now, was it funny? Does he have the right to offend? Was it racist? Lawmakers yesterday declared not. They found him guilty of grossly offensive and racist behaviour, and he could face jail, which he is prepared to do. Now, in the context, because context is everything surely, in the context of that, his girlfriend's pug taking the mickey, was he actually advocating the Holocaust? Of course he was not. Now, Ricky Gervais, who is a great defender of free speech, has come out, and interestingly so has David Baddiel, the well-known Jewish comedian, saying he's got every right to be offensive. What's the problem? Now, Tommy Robinson, the former leader of the EDL, was in court defending him and interviewed him yesterday. Tommy Robinson was at the Speaker's Corner on Sunday, where he was attacked for reading out a speech on Speaker's Corner, which is the very bastion of freedom of speech, reading out a speech by Martin Salner, a political activist from the continent who's opposed to radical Islam, who was not allowed into the UK. Robinson read out his speech. We're in a situation where free speech is in great peril in this country, and we must stand up to it. You might find this offensive. We have the right to be offensive, surely.
Okay.
This year there have been multiple examples of why the police force is no longer fit for purpose. Wiltshire Police decided to threaten Twitter users by saying, "You can't hide from us if you're spewing abuse from behind your computer screen. Our boys and girls in blue will find you. Hashtag 999 watch your emergency. Hashtag 999 like tweets are a emergency. Are you for real? Wiltshire must be really safe if the police have so much time on their hands, right? Oh, and look at that. Look at that grammar. It's your, as in you're not worth your salaries." The tweet was in response to a TV series called 999 What's Your Emergency. The show focuses on hate crimes and racially aggravated assaults throughout Wiltshire. And in typical Channel 4 style, they told us how Brexit was to blame, of course. Their tweet wasn't popular either. Wiltshire Police was inundated with negative tweets, with users asking how many FGM convictions they've made lately. They've made no arrests, no convictions. They're concentrating on tweets, yeah? And why they can spend so much time scouring the internet for mean tweets, but they can't send any officers to businesses to arrest shoplifters. The police are rattled too. On July the 25th, they responded to the public's outrage by saying that they will not tolerate any form of abuse, and how they're now reviewing the posts people have made and will consider any criminal offences which might have been committed. Is this entrapment? At least it's very cruel and manipulative. Why the hell are the police making this their focus? What is that all about? And by the way, this is the same police force that arrested Paul Weston back in 2014. He publicly quoted the words of Sir Winston Churchill.
"Individual Muslims may show splendid qualities, but the influence of the Islamic religion paralyses the social development of those who follow it."
Wiltshire Police arrested him and charged him with incitement of racial hatred for quoting Churchill. For quoting Churchill, he gets arrested. This is our police force.
Police have been caught on camera mistreating a disabled 85-year-old woman at a peaceful fracking protest.
Just get the chair here.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You mean to tell me you came out of the house this morning to drag an 85-year-old woman across the road? So there's no way that you could have an officer on her legs, lifting her legs up?
You will next time, yeah.
You will next time. You will next time you drag the 85-year-old, yeah.
Police released a statement insisting no complaint has been received over the incident. However, the pensioner says her shoulders were bruised and she was so traumatized she says she's struggling to sleep ever since. There's also a big backlash online against the officers. An anti-fracking campaigner and member of Britain's Green Party hit out at the police brutality.
Similar to the issue of police brutality in the USA, police must do their jobs to keep us safe. But was a disabled woman that much of a threat?
Awful to see Anne being dragged like a rag doll over the road by police, but they will move her more carefully next time. Words fail.
Put people in a uniform, give them some authority, cut them some slack, and you can quite easily create a monster.
Police swoop in on garden party where song mocking the death of Osama bin Laden was played. This happened over in the UK. The force helicopter and 10 officers were sent to a home in Hydean Road, Cherry Hinton, after a complaint from members of the public that the music was too loud and people were allegedly shouting anti-Islamic abuse. Initially, one officer was sent to the street at about 10 p.m. on Thursday, May 25th, but more arrived, and the force helicopter was deployed when the officer called in for backup. Partygoers claim the officer took offense at the song mocking dead terrorist Osama bin Laden being played and called in reinforcements after pressing her panic button. The infamous Bin Laden song is a parody music video which uses the death of a terrorist as a reference for jokes about sex and the military. Mark Donovan, who was at the party, was furious and denied that anyone at the party had made racist comments. He said, "We were having a summer's evening in my neighbor's garden as we don't have one. We had our karaoke machine on, playing music through our phones from YouTube, which are all approved songs. It was about 10 p.m. and the music may have been a little loud, but it was before 11. Someone must have made a complaint and a police officer who attended our address at what time a song from YouTube called the Bin Laden song came on. The police officer said she took offense at the song and pressed her panic button on her body cam, and that's when about 10 police turned up and the police helicopter. They are now investigating this as a racist crime. It's ridiculous. A phone and a karaoke machine were seized. No arrests were made, and the investigation is ongoing."
We're not out there to break any laws or anything. We want to abide by the law, and, there isn't any law against saying that them things are sins, There isn't any law against that. Hello? What have you been saying, homophobic-wise? Well, homophobia is hatred towards homosexuals. That's the definition of homophobia, but I'm not a homophobia. I spoke to your officer earlier, and he was upset that I was saying homosexuality was a sin, which is what the Bible says, and I affirm that's what I say because that's in the Bible, And there's no law. There's no law. Well, there is. No, it isn't. There is. Unfortunately, mate, it's a breach of the second part. You're offending people. No, it actually isn't. So it's we wouldn't do that if it was against the law, Right. Lord Kerry, the guy who passed that law in the House of Parliament recently. Yes, the free to a degree, but actually, I certainly didn't. This is I certainly never mentioned homosexuality. Yeah, we never said you are. The only time I mentioned it was when I was talking to this gentleman here. Yeah. When I was up on the set preaching, I didn't mention it then. But even so, it still is not against the law. There's a clause. It isn't. But what about we're pretty straight. You're under arrest for racially aggravated Section 5 public order offence. You don't have to say anything. Remain harm defence. If you don't mention one question, simply to let rely in court. And you do so, maybe even in evidence. Fair enough. Okay.
What do you think about 650 people this year being arrested in the United Kingdom for offensive online posting?
I think it's ridiculous. I think they're trying to tell us how to think, how everything. It's wicked. It's evil. And the man you're talking to here had a hell of an experience in England.
What happened?
Well, if you just look at my phone here, you'll see that my name's Vernon Mussington. And it said entrepreneur hauled into court for a hate crime for saying all right geezer. I went to Crown Court a few months ago for saying all right geezer.
What?
It's Crown Court, the big court.
Wait, what does all right geezer means? I don't even understand.
In America or in Canada, you say, hey dude, how you doing, dude?
Yeah.
What's up, dude? Exactly the same as that. So I said, hey dude, to somebody that looked like a man, dressed like a man, and in fact, according to the law, was a man. And I ended up being locked up in the cell all day, yeah, and taken to court. I had to go to court twice. I went once in September, and they found me guilty for a hate crime for saying all right geezer.
What?
Yep, and they give me £360 fine, 150 hours community service, and a 2-year restraining order.
What?
And because I work with children, and I've invented a sport here in England that's going to be a big sport one day, I thought I had to fight this because they were trying to get me kicked out of home and all this kind of stuff. So I went back to court in February this year, and I won my case, and I got acquitted. But all I said was all right geezer, and I ended up in a prison cell, and I ended up in the Crown Court for all right.